This video I want to say that Chuck Norris was the Bruce Lee of Japan. Alright, so what do I mean by that? I'm starting to look at it and see why martial arts has been popularized and widespread in America. And the reason why people know of Kung Fu and the reason why Kung Fu became famous in America is because of Bruce Lee. So he was representing the Chinese martial arts. Now, if you think about the Japanese martial arts in America, who was representing the Japanese martial arts? It was not any Japanese person. At least Bruce Lee was Chinese, Chinese American representing the Chinese martial arts. But there was no Japanese person representing the Japanese martial arts in America. But Chuck Norris became famous, and he was known for karate. And so he was basically became the the American representation of the martial arts, the Japanese martial arts in America. But when I look at the background information on Chuck Norris, it says that Chuck Norris started studying martial arts in Korea in the 1950s. So he was studying Tang Soo Do, a Korean martial arts. And then it says he was serving the U.S. Air Force at the time. When he returned home, Norris soon opened his karate studio. He switched to movies in the 1970s, appearing with Bruce Lee in Way of the Dragon. So he started opening karate studios, but then he studied a Korean martial art. So why would you open karate studios if you studied a Korean martial art? Now that doesn't make sense, because if he's been trained by Korean martial art masters, now all of a sudden why is he promoting the Japanese martial arts? And in my mind, the whole time I thought Chuck Norris was a karate practitioner. But if you look at the history, he actually was, his foundation started in Korea. So he was a Korean, trained by the Korean martial artists, and he was representing Tang Soo Do. So that's where I'm getting at. Here you got a Caucasian person who trains in Korea, Tang Soo Do, and then rather than promoting Korea and Tang Soo Do, he ends up promoting karate and Japan. And that is pretty much disloyalty to Korea. That's like a spit in the face to Korea. And that did not promote their country. It promoted the Japanese country. So then, now people, when Chuck Norris is famous in America, they're not looking to learn Tang Soo Do. They're not looking to learn from the Koreans. They're looking to learn from the Japanese, and they're looking to learn karate. Even though Korea and the Korean martial art masters are the ones who were responsible for Chuck Norris's initial, interest and development in the martial arts. And that's what I mean, is what I'm pointing at. It's wrong. He should have properly promoted the Korean martial arts and Tang Soo Do, in which to contribute towards the Korean success in the martial arts industry in America. But nonetheless, he became the face of the Japanese martial arts during that time. And if you think about it, when I think about it, he's, there's not many people that have become that famous, that have been representing these martial arts in America. You can't even think of a famous Korean martial artist in America that was representing the Korean martial arts. You can't think about a famous Japanese person that's representing Aikido in America. So a lot of times these Asian countries are gonna have to train some type of American to represent their arts as they go back to the States, in which to bring fame and interest towards their country and their arts. And when people think about Thailand, they think about Muay Thai boxing. And when people start promoting Muay Thai boxing in America, then it gives opportunities for people of the Thai culture and its people to come to America to teach Muay Thai boxing to Americans. You know, a lot of this is dependent on the American to practice the art and then bring back what they've learned to America to promote it, in which to gain fame and recognition to that Eastern country, so that it opens up a market for them to teach the martial arts to Americans. Not many people at all talk about Tang Soo Do. I didn't even know myself that Chuck Norris was a practitioner of Tang Soo Do. I thought he was karate. So people that try to open up a Tang Soo Do school in America, a lot of times they go out of business because nobody even knows what it is. They don't know if it's Japanese, they don't know if it's Korean, they don't know, but everybody knows Taekwondo, but they don't know Tang Soo Do. So Chuck Norris, if he would have properly advertised for the Koreans and said that, that he was a practitioner of Tang Soo Do, then their market would have expanded, and they would have been much more successful in promoting that art, sharing that art, and having other Americans gain interest in which to want to learn. But he didn't promote it the proper way, and then all of a sudden people think that he was practicing karate, when in actuality he was practicing a Korean martial art. And then the Japanese ended up getting the benefits of Chuck Norris's marketing and promotion. The Japanese got the benefits opposed to the Koreans, and that's like stealing off of the hard work of the Koreans in training to Chuck Norris, and then the Japanese get credit for it. That's not fair. It's like, people should get credit where it's due. And if the truth is that Chuck Norris, his foundation is Tang Soo Do and the Korean martial arts, then people need to be properly informed about that. So then the proper credit goes to the proper country, and that country will build greater success within their expansion of their martial art ways, from their country. So really, the Koreans and the Japanese and the Chinese, they're not going to get along because they're going to be intrinsically and naturally competitive with one another, because they're pretty much fighting for the Americans to support them, in which to open up opportunities for them to expand their arts and their businesses. It just so happens that the Chinese have mainly focused on the restaurant industry to make money, and then the Koreans and the Japanese have been focusing a lot on the martial art industry. That's why you see a lot of Taekwondo schools out there, and you see a lot of karate schools and judo schools, because the Japanese and the Koreans, they put a lot of their efforts into marketing the martial arts to Americans. But the Chinese, not so. The Chinese pretty much put their energies into the food industry, and they also put their energies into the film industry, in which to export their films to America, in which to get the Americans interested in the Chinese martial arts from watching the Chinese martial art films. And Bruce Lee, he broke into the America and into Hollywood, and his accomplishments can't be taken away, and he's going to be remembered for a very long time, if not forever. So then there's going to be always that interest towards the Chinese martial arts because of Bruce Lee. But you don't see famous Japanese martial artists. You don't see famous Korean martial artists or famous, Muay Thai boxer. Maybe other than maybe Tony Jaa is representing Thai boxing. You know, he became famous, and maybe that could be you know, why people might be interested in Muay Thai fighting, Muay Thai boxing. And you see, with the Philippines, nobody became famous in the martial arts. Danny Asano got a little fame because of Bruce Lee, but still, nobody's really representing the Filipino martial arts. No Filipino is, you know, but you do see Pacquiao, you know, a famous boxer that was very successful, gain pride and recognition to his country, and boxing ended up bringing him being successful in boxing brought a lot of money into the Philippines and a lot of attention towards the Philippines. So you see, these countries in the East, they don't have much money, and they're fighting for the attention of the Americans to try to make money. You know, the Japanese have been very successful with their automotive industry, and they have a lot of Americans driving their cars now. And Samsung is from Korea, so Samsung's very popular, and it brings wealth into Korea. You know, you look at the martial art industry, where is the Korean martial art master in America? Where is the Japanese martial art master in America? Where is the Filipino martial art master in America? Where is the Thai martial art master in America? You know, they're dependent on these Americans to promote their arts, to try to create opportunities for business expansion in America. You know, so that's why it's very important for Americans to give proper credit to where it's due. You know, if you're Chuck Norris and you studied the Korean martial arts and you studied Tang Soo Do, and that became your foundation to the martial arts, and that is the reason why you could even create your own martial arts system called Chuck Norris system. You got to give credit to where it's due, so then that country will profit and grow through their work in helping you better yourself. But then he goes ahead and gives credit to Japan and karate and the Japanese over the Koreans, and that really right there is that's disrespectful, that's disloyal, that's dishonest, and that's not being forthright. And that's why the traditional Chinese martial artists, the instructors, the Sifus, they don't want to teach foreigners, because the foreigners are just going to learn what they want to learn and for themselves and just benefit themselves, and don't give credit to where it's due, or they're going to hurt the people of the culture of whom they're learning from, or they're going to bully the people from the culture of whom they're learning from, or they're going to humiliate them, make fun of them, mock them, disrespect them. Why should the traditional Chinese martial art teachers teach foreigners if they're going to be disrespected, laughed at, mocked at, and no credits given to them for helping these Americans or these foreigners get good at the martial arts? You know, what's the benefit to them? You know, and even if Chuck Norris did give proper credit to Korea and that martial arts style, Tang Soo Do, will the money actually go back to Korea? Will Chuck Norris help the Korean martial art masters open up their schools in America and make money? Or is he just going to open up a school and make money for himself? You know, like, that's what I see that's going on. It's like, it's not fair for these Asian countries, you know, to teach these foreigners these martial arts skills, and then they get nothing out of it. Not only do they get nothing out of it, but it gets turned around and used against them, and they end up getting disrespected and pretty much you know, looked at as if they're incompetent, that they're not capable. You know, because when they teach these foreigners these foreigners are bigger and stronger, and then all of a sudden the foreigners think that they're better. Oh, I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, and I'll beat you up, so you're not my master anymore. I'm my own master, and I'm better than you because I can beat you up. So whatever you taught me, it's garbage because I made it better, and you're not better than me, and you are nobody. And it's this arrogance and this entitlement and this sense of ego that is very Western, and that's why a lot of these Eastern countries, a lot of these traditional martial artists from China, they'll say foreigners don't deserve to learn, and there's reason behind that. Look at how Americans treat the people of the East. Look at how they treat them. They don't. You look in Hollywood, you don't see any famous Asian actors or Asian American actors. You don't see any. Look at the music industry, you don't see any famous Asian artists or Asian American artists. It's like the whole entertainment industry is all dominated by people that are non-Asian. No opportunities are given to them. And that's a sad fact. So if Asians aren't allowed to enter into Hollywood, then why should Westerners be allowed to learn the martial arts from Asian countries? What gives them that right to go ahead and discriminate and be racist towards Asians when it comes to Hollywood and their American industries, but then they're gonna blame the Asian countries for being racist because they don't want to teach Westerners their martial arts? It's just a lot of racism and discrimination in America that's going on against these Asian people in these Asian countries, and they don't deserve that treatment. And if you look at the things that we're using right now, our cell phones, our cars, our clothes, everything is coming from these Asian countries. A lot of it is coming from China, and they're working for dirt for nothing. They're pretty much slaves to us and our luxuries. But yet we still go around very ungrateful, very unthankful, and we go ahead and disrespect them, and we continue to steal from them, and we don't give credit to them. We don't pay respect to them. And this is wrong. And deep inside, it's wrong. And this is what's going on. The Chinese people, the Chinese population has become the new slaves for today. Back then it was the Africans that were being used as slaves, working for nothing. Now it's the Chinese people being used as slaves by the Americans. And the fact of the matter is, I see the destructiveness of this narcissistic culture that we live in, and it's all over our president. You see it in our president. He's being a womanizer, and he's pretty much joking about fondling women and raping women, but now he's the president of the United States. And that's a symbol of what our country has become. Full of narcissists, full of people that feel entitled, full of people that like to steal from other people in other countries in which to benefit themselves. And there's a lot about America that we need to improve upon, and a lot of the things that we need to learn in which to better ourselves comes from the East, comes from China, comes from those Asian countries like India. We need to learn from yoga, from meditation, from Zen, from the Chinese philosophies, from Lao Tzu, from Buddha, from Confucius. You know, we need to learn from the East. You know,